Making beats is probably the worst hobby possible. You need to get serious into this because otherwise you will stay nobody forever. Money and placements don't belong to hobby producers. I'm Mordarski and I will help you make your first K selling beats. So at first let's talk about what actually is a hobby for me, because this is really important for this video. I define hobby as something that requires an input from you, from the definition, but doesn't give you any actual output. For me, the great example of a hobby is reading fantastic novels. And for example, I used to read them. I used to read a lot of them. I may even show you a photo of all my fantasy novels. Okay, so you put a lot of time and effort. Okay, mostly time to just read them, and also money to buy the books, because to buy 100 books, and I got more than 100 books definitely on this, you pay like, $20,000, Jesus Christ, $2,000 probably. Yeah, so that's kind of a lot of money. But you don't get anything in exchange, okay? Because you spend time, you spend money, but you don't get money back. You don't get connections back, you don't get any knowledge back, you just get the pure experience. The other hobby, for example, I know you may create, I also used to do this, I also create crossbows with my dad from the wood. we made this crossbow once, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but you will not get money, you will not get anything from that. It's just pure fun. And by the way, nothing wrong with that, okay? There's nothing wrong with that, because those wholesome things like reading novels, making something with your dad, doing some sport, but sport is, by the way, something different, I will get to it, but generally doing this kind of stuff is not bad, because it doesn't hurt your social life, it doesn't just require a lot of stuff from you, okay? Because generally, okay, I bought a lot of books, but generally they are not so expensive. But you need to understand that, in my opinion, hobby is something that doesn't improve your life in general. That's why I'm kind of, in this phase of my life, I'm kind of against hobbies. I'm more into things that should improve your life. You should do only things as a young man, if you're like 15, 16, 25, you should do only things that improve your life. Hobbies do not improve your life. They give you a lot of fun, I can't deny that, but they don't improve your life. And don't get me wrong, because I'm also a fucking geek. I used to, right now, look at this, Stephen King books. It's just a little fraction of my collection of books, okay? These are my Stephen King books. Read all of that. You know how many fucking pages? Book from this movie, 1,000 pages. Another one, 1,000 pages. So I used to do this, a lot of fun. I was like 13, 14, 15, I used to read those books because, so I really can't deny that there's a lot of fun, and maybe I wouldn't be the person I am today without reading these books. So I'm not telling you just stop your hobbies, but the thing is, I didn't have idea that reading this book will make me anything in life. I just thought, this is fun. And right now I read this type of books, like more self-improvement books. If I watch something, if I'm into some fantasy, some science fiction, I will go for a movie because it's 2 hours and it's done. But generally, why producing is different, I will actually get to it later, because now I have another example of activity, because the first type of activity for me is hobby, which doesn't give you anything back. Now I'd like to talk about things that are meaningful. There are things that are not hobby, but they are also not like our main thing. And I will 100% of the time will tell you, sport is all that. So you put money usually into sport because you pay for the gym, you pay for some shoes for running, you pay for some equipment for your home gym. There is always some cost of doing sports usually, and you also put a lot of time and effort into it, okay? Because you get some knowledge about training and you put time and effort into the training. But you get healthier, your mind gets more clear, you have less brain fog, you can get then a girl because you look like a fucking G, maybe you look like that, I probably look kind of proper, okay? You look just way better. People treat you in a different way. So yes, sport will not make you a millionaire, just like, okay, maybe you become a pro athlete, but that's the other thing. But just kind of hobby sport, is not a hobby, in my opinion, because it gives you output. You look better, you feel better, people look at you in a more proper way. That's type of thing that is not a hobby, because you have always some kind of output. No matter how shitty is your input, you always have some kind of output. Reading fantasy novels will not give you that. Reading this will not give you anything. maybe if you become the biggest expert on Stephen King's books, you can create a YouTube channel about that. But that's really like big side point about it. Okay, there are things like sport that will always give you some input. Okay, but doesn't have to be prioritized. And now there is third type of thing, which is priority. You can have only one priority in your life, and that's the thing that will feed your fucking family. That's the thing that will get your fucking wife. Okay, that's the thing that will get you your dream car, your dream house, your life. So for us, for young men, it's usually a job, like not job like you go to the factory. Maybe don't prioritize going to the fucking factory for minimum wage. I have nothing against it, but you should have some little bit more interesting priority in your life. So yeah, your priority should be something that takes you to another level and produce. And if you want to get really good at something, you need to prioritize it. You need to fucking prioritize it. And producing has to be in this section, okay? I don't know, I could write this down probably. We have hobbies, and they should take, I don't know, like 5% of our time. We got no hobbies, and they can easily take like, 20% of our time. The whole fucking rest is our priority. I could misspell it, not gonna lie, but I think I did it. 75%. And that's where you need to put 75%, okay? It doesn't mean like not even time, but I mean like in our brain energy, our money, our effort, okay? So not just the time, but the whole our energy needs to have, most of it has to go to priority. So why being producer shouldn't be your hobby? Because 5% is not enough. Why shouldn't it be your no hobby? Because it's still not enough. 20% is not enough. Your priority should take 75% of your life easily. Should take even more actually if you're really serious, and then you can go with producing. And now you can do like sport in a hobby manner. It takes some of your time, but you get results. But if you put only 20% of effort into producing, you are still nobody. Your beat sucks, you make no money, your friends laugh at you, you live in a fucking basement with your parents, with no fucking money, with no anything, with no... Man, you just waste your time. If you're hobby producer, there's no difference from being just fucking gamer. You can go play fucking League of Legends instead of doing. Because, consider it, I prioritize this shit like 99%. There are people who are more extreme than me, are more talented, have more connections, have more gear, a lot of other stuff. They have big advantage and they put even more than I put into this. How could you fucking compete with them? Even if you're talented as fuck, you can't compete with them. Those guys who are successful, those guys who you look up to, they put all this stuff into producing. And I don't mean producing beats for 20 hours a day. I mean just being in this business for the whole day. Okay? It can't be your hobby. If you do this your hobby, you are just a geek who doesn't make money, who doesn't get placements. You're just a gamer. You're just an FL Studio fucking basic user. There are 400,000 sold licenses of FL Studio. How many producers make a living with that? 1,000? I don't know. Maybe a little bit more, but the percent is fucking ridiculous, okay? Most of you guys make no fucking money and you go to your FL Studio because you treat this as your hobby. You should not do this. If you don't want to get 75% into this, don't do this because you will not succeed. If you think you can keep like high quality daily uploads of type beats, which is like bare minimum for making a living with beats, like with hobby producing like one time a week, what the fuck, man? With your friends on Discord, what the fuck, man? Do some crazy challenges, what the fuck, man? Okay, so that's why it has to be your priority, not your fucking hobby. Remember it, man. Because the thing is, sometimes the difference of energy that you will put between hobby, between hobby and hobby priority, this like difference of like, you put like 10 hours into hobby, but you put 10.5 hours into priority. It doesn't always mean that you put 10 times more time into priority, because that's important, because you can spend a lot of time on hobby, but if you think about it as a hobby, you will lose this one fraction of hour, okay? Because in this case it's like 5% more, but remember, this 5% makes the biggest difference. 5% sometimes means getting twice as views, 10 times more views, 100 times more views. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do this, that you need to put this specific amount of time, but it means what I'm trying to tell you, that if you don't treat it as your priority, you will not put this extra 1%. But this extra 1% is not 1% in views and in your money. It's everything. 1%ers take all. You can call those extreme guys like me 1%ers. We take everything. We get this one specific advantage, okay? It's like, compare it to, for example, sprinters. We got Usain Bolt, which is the best sprinter in the world. Who is the second one? Who the fuck is the second fastest man in the world? Nobody knows. He's probably like worth about some ridiculous fraction of second. Probably something like, I don't know, 0.01 second. We probably wouldn't even notice this difference, but nobody knows him. Everybody knows Usain Bolt. He probably makes like 10 times more money or even more. So yeah, literal percents matter. That's why you should do priority, not a hobby producing. Okay, so yeah, if you want to get more advice from me, at first watch my other videos, because I provide a lot of great advice on this channel. You can also check first link in the description. It is my first product and it's about improving your beat selling business. And you can also check out my Instagram and DM me call if you want to go on a free strategic call with me. So that's all for today. Bye.